From our studios at the corner of 8th and Walton in Bentonville, Arkansas, welcome to Saturday Morning Meeting, where we cover Walmart, Sam's Club, and the consumer product companies that are represented on the racks and shelves throughout the country and around the world. I'm Derek Ridenauer, and our focus is on the insights, trends, and best practices to help you as a supplier grow your business with the world's largest retailer. Thank you for joining us, and coming up today, we will continue our conversation with Patrick Sbarra. He is the founder of New Creature Design in Rogers. We're going to talk to him about starting a business in Northwest Arkansas, and our panel will be here to discuss this week's events. But first, the headlines. Retailers aren't waiting for Black Friday to offer deep discounts to customers. Both Amazon and Walmart begin holiday sales weeks ahead of the traditional holiday shopping season. Sale prices can be found on popular toys as well as electronics, including iPad minis, LCD TVs, and streaming media players. Still, Consumer Reports advises consumers to be cautious about jumping on early sales, suggesting that shoppers might want to hold out for better deals as we get closer to Christmas. Walmart's new fresh produce labeling standards have gone into effect. Forbes.com reports that Walmart now requires standardized case labels on all cartons of fresh produce. The new rules are part of the Produce Traceability Initiative, also known as PTI, an industry-wide effort to improve the handling of produce throughout the supply chain. For now, Walmart will receive non-compliant shipments as A- out of spec, unless an exception has been granted, but will begin rejecting non-compliant shipments on January 1st, 2014. Walmart's decision to continue purchasing pork products from suppliers that use gestation crates has made it the target of advocacy group Mercy for Animals, with the organization staging protests at Walmart stores around the country. Now, Mercy for Animals claims that it has video documentation of animals being treated cruelly at one Minnesota pork supplier. KTSP reports that Walmart is investigating the group's claims. During the federal government shutdown, analysts suggested that cuts in WIC benefits could adversely affect Walmart's bottom line. And while the government is back up and running again, Walmart and grocery retailers have a new concern: a cut in food stamp benefits. As a recent column in the Daily Beast points out, cash-strapped Americans who rely on food stamps will have to economize on reduced benefits, giving these consumers less money to spend on non-food items as well as holiday gifts. The Washington Post recently offered an analysis of Walmart's most recent Made in the USA push, noting that previous campaigns presented a challenge to Walmart's commitment to being a low-price leader. While public relations may play a part in Walmart's decision to push for domestic goods, the costs of offshoring have increased, making domestically manufactured goods more attractive to Walmart buyers. Bloomberg reports that Walmart.com shoppers got quite a surprise Wednesday when a technical glitch offered up some interesting prices on merchandise. While homemakers were shocked at being charged $100 for cans of Lysol and $70 for Kool-Aid, but kayaks were selling for only $11 and computer monitors for only $9. Sadly, for customers who thought they were getting great deals, the Associated Press reports Walmart is canceling those orders, but will provide each of those shoppers with a $10 gift card as a consolation prize. For all of the stories making news in the retail world this week, go to walmartnews.com. Joined now by our panel, Ross Cully from the Harvest Group and Andy Wiseman from Redwood Ventures. Good morning, guys. And
morning.
Thanks. First thing I want to talk about is Walmart's big glitch that they had this week, selling kayaks for $11. Ross, thoughts on that?
You know, I think they missed a PR opportunity, quite frankly. The viral nature of media, this was everywhere, and I think they had a chance to reinforce their price image in a self-deprecating way that really would have got a lot of traffic to their site ahead of Black Friday. The $10 gift card was a nice consolation, but I just don't think it could have done a lot more.
You're absolutely right. Walmart could have made a big deal out of this and turned what was viewed as a mistake and an error that they kind of had to pay for into free mileage with consumers, and I think they missed it. Yeah, I think that would have been fun to watch play out.
Well, we saw this with Best Buy, I think last year, the year before, where somebody ordered one iPad and they got a case of iPads. They said, keep it, Merry Christmas, congratulations. Walmart's unfortunately not doing that, canceling it. And I agree with you guys. I think they're really missing an opportunity, because even a markdown on a kayak that may have retailed for $250 goes a long ways towards making customers realize Walmart does have the best price.
We buy media on major cable networks, and we know how expensive that media is. This was almost free, despite the loss in the kayak, but it could have been a big deal.
And
for
send a
low
$10
cost.
gift certificate or a $10 shopping card to the people who bought Lysol at $100.
Yeah.
That would have made sense. Okay, the next topic that we wanted to discuss is food stamps. Big deal this week. Food stamp cutting or spending is going to be cut. Ross, you have grocery suppliers. What do you see? What impact do you see?
Yeah, it could go either way. Walmart's what they're sharing is that as people have less money in their wallet, that they're going to look at price more, and so they'll be more relevant. And so they think that it really could be advantageous. The other side is as consumers have less money, then they're going to spend less and consume less. It'll be interesting to see. The subsidy went up a couple years ago, and Walmart said that they lost share as people had more money in their wallet. And so I tend to think that people are going to spend less. One of the consumers that was interviewed recently said, I know I'm not going to buy meat this month. And so one advantageous thing I think could be whenever an event like this happens, consumers reconsider categories. Instead of just grabbing the same thing that they grab each trip, they have to relook and rethink it. And so I think that could be an opportunity for suppliers as consumers are rethinking their habits.
Absolutely. I mean, for us, we are focusing, and we have been for some time, on taking the average price for products that we manufacture, the average retail price, down, because we see a struggling economy that doesn't look like it's going to pick up at all. We're in hard lines. And so we have to be thinking that way. And like you said, within certain categories, spending is going to go down, and that's going to improve the opportunity, I think, for low-price supplier leaders as well. But Walmart has history with it going up. I think they know what's going to happen when it goes down as well. And as long as consumers believe that Walmart is indeed the low price leader, and that's yet to be seen. I mean, some believe, some don't. I think they're in a good position to weather this without a lot of impact, personally.
Walmart continues to struggle with the basket size. And when I'm in stores and I'm talking to customers, and I go all over the country talking to them, the thing that I see a lot are those customers who are coming in to those high-low retailers or where something's on sale. They realize Walmart has ad match, but it's hard to beat a 5 for $5 deal that Kroger sometimes has. I see them going in and doing loads at different retailers. So they'll hit Aldi's and pick up what they need. They hit Kroger and get what they need. Or they go to Publix and they come to Walmart. Do you think that's why Walmart hasn't really seen a big bump whenever food stamp subsidies went up?
Yeah, I think trip type, as you talk about, is really a key concept for U.S. retail over the next couple of years. You've seen the rise of the dollar channel, which is in some cases much more convenient, but also has a price message. And so I think that studying trips for suppliers and categories is going to be key. And certainly when you think about food stamps and the price of gasoline for those consumers that have that subsidy, I think that capturing trips is key. And one of the things that I see Walmart doing to defend against that is pack size going up.
Now, but is this a supplier? As a supplier, should I be concerned? Because if the customers are buying my product, whether it's a Kroger, a Publix, or a Target, or Walmart, is this more of a retailer problem when it comes to the trips? Or is it more of a supplier problem?
Well, I think it's a consumer problem. I mean, I think consumers are buying just in time. We talk about Walmart needing their inventory just in time, or all the pressure that suppliers have to shorten the supply chain. It's just in response to consumers. I think they're living with less in the pantry. And so there are more trips. I'm on the way home from soccer practice and I need a jug of milk, and they're smaller purchases, more frequent trips. So yeah, that's my perspective.
Yeah, I think any retail issue is also a supplier issue, and with the transparency of syndicated data, as share shifting happens, channel management's getting more and more difficult, and so something that suppliers are going to have to get better and better at.
Okay, and then one last thing I want to talk about just briefly, Black Friday. We're not seeing the deep discounts that I think a lot of consumers probably anticipated with the short season between Thanksgiving and Christmas. You're in toys, obviously your Christmas time. Yeah. But how's that going to work? Well,
this is a play for share, because the collective wisdom here amongst retailers historically has been that if I get purchase early, if I get people to buy Christmas early, I tend to win in terms of having a share gain. And so Walmart stepping out early and Amazon right beside them, they're working to gain share early. I mean, but this is not new, and this isn't the first. Toys R Us came out aggressively about a month ago, and we were talking about this on the show. People are looking for early share. The deals were okay, from what I heard. They weren't remarkable, by the way.
Yeah, my sense is that it may be a defensive holiday season. When you look at how holiday was or seasonal merchandise was impacted earlier in the year due to weather, I think that there's some inventory that's still out there that they're working through, and I think this is a bottom line focused year for a lot of retailers, and so I think it's going to be a defensive Christmas.
All right, guys, thank you very much. We are out of time for this discussion, but we do thank you for taking the time. Coming up, we are going to continue Saturday morning meeting with Patrick Sbarra on starting a new business in Northwest Arkansas when Saturday morning meeting continues next.
Cameron Smith & Associates is Supplier's first choice in recruiting the competitive Walmart supplier job market. We connect qualified candidates to CPG jobs in Northwest Arkansas and across the country. CSA also sources sales and marketing professionals for companies providing advertising, marketing, merchandising, and data management services to suppliers. Contact us today at csarecruiters.com.
Today's show has been sponsored in part by 8th & Walton, the premier destination for Walmart supplier education. Since 2006, 8th & Walton's by suppliers for suppliers approach to education and services has helped thousands of supplier teams grow their business with Walmart. Visit 8thandwalton.com to learn more.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Meeting, joined now by Patrick Sbarra. He is the founder of New Creature Design here in Northwest Arkansas. Patrick, thanks. Last week when you were here, we had a chance to talk about how Northwest Arkansas is kind of a hotbed for startups, and you had that vision 15 or so years ago whenever you moved to Northwest Arkansas and founded New Creature. I want to talk now about how kind of the market is and how the vision came about as you begin to create, not just for you with New Creature, but really anyone who's looking to start up a business here or anywhere in the world for that matter. What are some things that you need to consider when it comes to, I'm going to go into business for myself?
Yeah, well, you bring up a great point there about first, what is the market need? It's always best if you can find a need, find a hole in the market and serve a need, fill a market void, than trying to cram something into the market that there is no need for. So it often starts with, where's the need? Where does it hurt? Where can I help you? What are people begging for? Listening to the street, watching what's going on. Also, there's the opportunity to become the alternate to whoever got there first. But you wouldn't want to be a Me Too kind of a company.
Right, we hear that all the time from Walmart buyers who are saying, look, don't be a Me Too supplier, bring something that's new and innovative and creative into me, and let's talk about it from there. But you're right, but, customers, consumers almost have to have choices, which is what we always want. We always want more choices. I want to be locked into one. And you bring a good point with, you may not be the first to market, but you need to be the second to market.
Yeah. And if you have to wind up as the third, you better be really different. For example, Charles Lindbergh went across the Atlantic. Very shortly after, another person did it, but none of us remember who that is. Very shortly. But the third person, you remember who it is, because it was a female. That's exactly right. So if you want to be first, second's good, but once you get into third, fourth, fifth in the race, it's a different game. It's a different challenge, and that's where they don't wind up in a Me Too category.
But if I've got this great idea and I think I can make a lot of money doing it, what are the problems with that?
Well, you said the money. You used the word money. I would say first, don't chase the money. I'll address that in a second. Start with a vision. What is our purpose? Why do we exist? Why do we consume oxygen? Why do we deserve to consume oxygen? Why does the world want another one of us to begin with? If we were to disappear, who would miss us? So you need a vision that transcends the dollar, a higher purpose, mostly based around service of that market. But back to the money, we certainly need cash flow and we certainly need profitability. But as Jim Collins wrote in his first book, Built to Last, I think it's on page 55, where he talks about profitability is like oxygen and blood in a body. We need it for life, but it's not the purpose of life. So while we need to create cash flow, create profits, it's not the purpose. When you find yourself chasing the dollar, then it's a futile chase. It doesn't mean the rewards aren't wonderful to have, but don't chase the money. Chase the vision, chase the purpose, chase the reputation, the brand. Then the money should flow if you have good fiscal controls and you work on
Controlling
those
your expenses, which is what we hear.
Keep
across the street
expenses
all the
down,
time.
expenses down, expenses down, right? If there's a rule in real estate, location, there's a rule in entrepreneurism. Keep the expenses down, expenses down, expenses down. That's
Okay,
right.
and let's talk about the intent. Okay, so you've got your vision, you've got your mission statement, and where your intent is going to be next, but what should that intent be? And how do you establish a culture within your own organization? And how do you establish and work within or with that culture with your clients?
Well, great point you're bringing up. First, we want to turn towards the customer. That customer you want to wow. Right? It starts with the customer. Everything works backwards from the customer. Where does it hurt? How can I help you? What do you need? What do you desire? So with intent, you want to quickly assess that and how they want it. There used to be the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, but it's the platinum rule, do unto your customer as the customer would have you do unto them. So you want to think in terms of how do they want to receive what we do, and then build a structure, build a process around the delivering of that. Then once you have the process and the structure, then move towards how am I going to measure if I'm doing that well. Then it's, do I recruit and train the right people to execute that structure for that purpose, right? Which now gets to culture, and you mentioned that up, then you were bringing up culture. Sooner or later, we're talking about the entrepreneurs that survive, because most startups don't make it past year one.
Right.
Then most of them don't make it past year 3, and most of them now don't make it past year 7. So we're considering the ones who have made it. The ones who have made it now have an organization, now have employees, maybe 3, maybe 30, maybe 300 employees. So now the culture, you mentioned with intent, starts on day one. What kind of a culture are we going to have? And you have to foster that from day one, which is don't chase the dollar, chase the vision, chase the culture, and the dollar will come. So, a New Creature, we wanted a high performance culture. I would say on a sidebar to an entrepreneur, don't be afraid to roll down the window and ask for help. And in 2003, as it related to culture, we rolled down the window and asked the Sodaqua Center to help us with little high performance cultural injections back in 2003. Here it is,
10 years later.
10 years later. But they gave us a couple of great pearls of what to focus on.
Okay, I want to step back for just a minute. And those companies who don't make it past a year, what do you see as some of the catastrophic mistakes that they make?
Sometimes they just go into a market that the need isn't there. They have the need to open up the hot dog stand, but the market doesn't have the need for their flavor, their location, their place, their style, their values, their principles, their execution. So they just don't follow it and execute well. A lot of times they're undercapitalized. They don't have enough money to make it through, year one, or they don't manage the money well. Sometimes it's about the partnership. It's two people who start it together, and then they realize in the quest of chasing it, the struggles, the challenges, sometimes divides the two partners, which is why the vision and the process and the purpose holds them together. See, if they're yoked with the right people. So those who start a company with another person, including a sister or a brother or a relative, but if a stranger, I was blessed to have Brad Jones as my partner. He's 15 years younger than me, but we shared the exact same vision and purpose to build New Creature into the Mayo Clinic of our space. So we had that in mind. If we wanted to be the Mayo Clinic and have a reputation, so we worked towards that reputation, not towards the dollar. The reputation earned us the dollar. So again, those first years are struggle.
Let's go to year 3. Why do most companies not get past? So if you made it past year 1, thinking you're going to be pretty good, you get to year 3 and you hit some major hiccups and bumps in the road. What typically falls apart at that point?
Well, some of the things that are inside your control are poor cash flow management. And you can sometimes outsell your cash flow, or you can outsell your balance sheet, because now you're closing sales, which you think is great, but now how do I finance those sales? All of a sudden a bad receivable comes in. So it usually has to do, you have made it through year 1, they like us, we're moving forward, but now we're not able to manage the cash flow. The thing outside of your control is a mistake. that takes you down, ruins your reputation. E. coli at a restaurant,
Okay.
poor execution in year 3, because you're only as good as your last execution,
Absolutely.
right? So it's either you shot yourself in the foot, you know, and we have a saying, New Creature, don't lose the license. Don't do anything that loses the license, you know, or an outside factor. But usually in year 3, it's a lot of cash management. You know.
Okay. And then going on beyond that, year 5 and 7?
Staying true to the original purpose. Hey, we're successful. Let's start adding things left and right of the core, but is the core strong? Bad hires, we call those pures. Previously unrecognized recruitment errors. You know, too many pures into the house. Fast to hire, slow to fire, because now your people are critical, and you're in year 7, so you probably have added more people. Back to the culture. Are they united? Do they come in with purpose? And again, the unknown mistake where you shot yourself in the foot. Or also, a competitor moves into the space and trumps you.
Okay.
You know, so that's
Undercuts you in price
or charges more but overperforms. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, goes both ways.
And then the final thoughts, because we're about out of time now, but what advice would you give to somebody who is looking to start a business, obviously not one that would compete with you, but starting a business? Now, last time we talked about if you were doing this all again, you would probably be looking at
CrossFit boxes.
CrossFit boxes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yes.
So, but what are some of what would you tell somebody who's looking to get into business for themselves?
Look inside first. Am I going to have the stamina, the commitment, ready to burn the ships and you know, be into it? I love the book that head of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, wrote. Pour your heart into it. It's a great book. In fact, maybe start by reading that book. Read how he discovered where he was going, how he got there, some of the accidents that happened along the way, some of the epiphanies that happened along the way. And by the way, that was written by a man who did it himself, much like Sam's book. You know, written in the first person. There's always the chapter on luck. There's always the chapter where I zigged where I should have zagged. There's always the chapter on a person, a partner, an employee who gave me a leg up. So it's a study how other successful people have gone down the path before you and embrace that whole challenge, because it's a wild ride.
Okay, well, Patrick, thank you very much. We are out of time now. I appreciate you coming by.
Today's show has been sponsored in part by 8th & Walton, the premier destination for Walmart supplier education. 8th & Walton offers a variety of services including new supplier onboarding, scorecard optimization, and analysis and reporting. Visit 8thandwalton.com/services to learn more.
GigWalk is an on-demand mobile workforce that can collect data and do work at retail. Businesses use GigWalk for retail audits, merchandising, and much more. With 350,000 smartphone-enabled workers available on demand, you get unprecedented speed and coverage across the US, Canada, and the UK. And all work is reviewed for quality and accuracy. Visit gigwalk.com to learn more.
And thank you to Patrick Sbarra for sharing his insights. Also, thanks to the panel, and most of all, thank you for joining us. If you have questions or comments, we want to hear from you. Our address is Saturday@8thandwalton.com. And join us next Saturday morning when our guest will be Vice President of Diamond Foods, Drew Collum. And you don't want to miss our Black Friday special on November the 30th. We will see you next Saturday morning.